are alive.
Greetings. Welcome to our tavern for tonight's episode of What's the Word. This is episode 4? 5. I knew that. Thank you for joining us. So this is the show where we talk about our imaginary characters in our imaginary world. It's our D&D campaign. So over to my left here, I got the most handsome, the most charming, list them all. Cody, aka Darrio.
Thank you.
And I'm Bjorn, aka Ahmed, which is probably the other way. I should have said it the other way around.
It's alright.
It's all good. It's all good. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm pretty tired, but I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. I'll start things off. You'll start things off? I'll start things off. Alright, so Dario's a little bitch.
That's how I was going to start.
Oh, really?
Bjorn,
yeah. Well, you lost the opportunity.
Yeah, I should have.
Yeah, so this episode, I should say, takes place after episode 16, I think, of the campaign. I think it's 16. I don't think it has a title yet. But the events of episode 15, let's just say the last 2 episodes are probably going to be what we're going to be talking about today. Especially because both of our characters got into a little spat. And for those who don't know, and you should know if you're a true fan, we're pretty much like best buds, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Like, I think, Bjorn connected with you first out of the whole group because he was a newcomer to the group. And, kind of always respected, looked up to you. And, just wanted to, not let you down. And maybe he has now? I don't know.
I think this is the second time you've let him.
Second time? What?
Nah. I think, if any... I don't know. Darrio remembers the dinner with Lord Gimmick very well.
Oh yeah. But that was
everyone else.
That was still like before they were bros, and he was trying to put on a show. Yeah. But anyway, being a bitch. Back to the bitch bit.
Yeah. All right. Well.
All right. So we got into an argument.
Yeah.
The most passive, most respectful argument that'll ever happen, right? Where I wanted to go in one direction, you wanted to go in the other. Mm-hmm. Both had what I feel are pretty good reasons.
Some had better reasons than others, but
I know, but you just wouldn't listen. That turned into a thing. So I don't know. Talk about it.
Yeah, so basically what happened, if you guys haven't seen it, it was Darrio. So Bjorn, the party's been helping Darrio in his home city of Negro in Austin, Mike. And Bjorn decided to abandon Darrio, to leave to help Jace, which me as a person, I do understand.
Mm-hmm.
But Darrio, not so much.
But why? Why doesn't he understand?
Because you knew him for 3 days.
You knew him for 3 days.
Thank you, bystander.
But
please submit your questions via the Twitch chat.
But as we learned in the last episode, Darrio did have a reason to go with you guys, but that was just never communicated.
Yeah, Bjorn's never really been good at communicating, especially when it comes to such a intense sort of topic, I think. You want to protect your people. Yeah. Your city is literally burning.
Yeah. And
the blame's on you.
Yeah. And just so it's clear, so people kind of understand where Dario is coming from, I did go into it a little bit in the episodes, but the reason why Darrio did feel betrayed is not only have you only known Jace a couple of days, but to Darrio, his whole world's collapsing.
Yeah.
And he feels like he's about to step into an onslaught by himself. And he had his friends there, and now his friends aren't there.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. You probably should just come with us. Just abandon your city. That's probably the right choice. I don't know, man. Like I just think I kept trying to say in the actual game, right? So again, like as Ahmed, I get it. You know, Bjorn's not really making sense, or he's not really prioritizing maybe what he should prioritize, right? But Bjorn is very, you know, I think it's pretty obvious. He's pretty emotionally driven, right? And he's, you know, this kid, his whole world's crumbling down, and I know, like, it's different, right? But like, you know, he's beginning to be perceived as a monster, or as, you know, not Jace, you know, not Kathy's kid. His dad's almost dead, you know, like all this shit went down, and he just feels like this is very similar to what happened to him. And this is something that he understands, not only on an emotional level, but also on a like a logical, you know, the sort of fantastical elements to it of, okay, this is a creature that can be, or a curse, or, you know, like whatever it is. Bjorn knows, I don't, but like that, you know, something that's part of his training, and he knows how to handle these situations. You know what I mean? So he just feels like this is right now his calling. You know what I mean? Like if you think about it, since Bjorn was saved from the Contest of Champions, right? He kind of just joined you guys because he didn't know where else to go, right? He was just leaving home, he was running away again, right? And didn't want to be alone because that freaks him out. And he was in a place where he, you know, he could have done harm to himself, potentially. You know what I mean? So he was just like, he just found himself with you guys and then just stuck to you for absolutely no real reason. He just did it. You know what I mean? He was very lost. And kind of hasn't had a purpose, really, not really, until Dre revealed herself to be his adopted sister, which sort of gave him a purpose, and he held on to that, and held on to, okay, well, not really, like that. He doesn't really have a goal, but it's more like, no, well, I'm just gonna be there for her, protect her, and in part that's Darrio and the rest of the team, right? But here, he's like, no, this is something for me. This is, even though, yes, he's only known for 3 days or whatever, but this is something that he can actually make a difference with. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't feel, like, yes, he's come to Nagaroth to help you in the city, but like, can he really help? And looking back at it, he's just making things, he's just fucking up. And that scares him. He doesn't want to be in that place where he's just fucking up again. He's trying to be different, right? But he feels like he's slowly stumbling back into it. He just doesn't know what to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he's like, he doesn't want to, you know, let you down or let Darrio down, but he knows that he's going to be better off helping Jace, right? But that's the way he's thinking. You know, he's like, I can help this kid, but the bigger picture is Heimlich, Slovenia, Manfred, you know, all those connections that Abe's is slowly, you know, adding to the overall story and probably connecting him back to Tommen and whatever. You know what I mean? That all plays a big part of it. You know what I mean? Like, if Heimlich decides to raise another army up undead and just crush Nagaroth, well then, you know, no matter what you do back at, you know, in the political game and whoever you win over, your city's fucked, right? So it is very important to the overall scheme, but he's just not even focusing on that. He's literally, his focus is, there's this kid who could very well end up in the exact same situation as him, if not worse, and maybe he can prevent it. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody could have saved him before everything went to shit, you know, murdered his own mom, and, you know, like the whole year of death, blood, and chaos that he went through. And if you don't know about that, then, you know, I guess they're the early episodes, but, you know, we'll probably be doing like a recap of some sort. But essentially, it was like a werewolf, and uncontrollable for a long time. Yeah, so he's just trying to prevent that. You know what I mean? That's his focus.
Yeah.
And I feel like Darrio should have understood that. Like, cause you know they're bros.
Yeah.
He gets it. I feel like Dario's the first person who started to understand Bjorn and then supported, or if not support, at least understood why Bjorn was acting up when he was acting up, or whatever the case was. Like, it was really only Darrio who got it. That's what I felt anyway. So I would have thought that he would have been able to go, yeah, okay, I get it. You got to do this. I got to do my thing. Let's see each other in a week. You know what I mean?
It was just tricky, like, because Darrio, it was just very sudden. It was just like, hey, this kid tried to kill me, and now I'm going to go help him. And, like, Darrio, I feel like he would have understood, but it was just very sudden. Like, especially if Jace hadn't just tried to kill him. Because, again, like, they are bros. Like, oh, hey, this guy tried to kill me. It's like, are you going to help him? Like, I think it was just a bit confused as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But, I mean, you were petty.
I was so petty. Yeah. Darrio isn't that petty, but I was just like, it was so weird to film because I hated every second of it because I felt like we were actually fighting, and I'm like, I feel so bad. You know, I feel like an asshole right now. But
You were.
Yeah.
You were.
I got pretty into
I
it.
cried myself to sleep that night. Just so you know.
You don't need him, Darrio. I got your back.
Shut up, Osiris. Why are you always here?
But Father Bell, as we have seen in the last couple of episodes, he does have Dario's back. So can confirm.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. Well, alright. So, let's move past that.
Yeah.
What do you think about the last episode? So now actually both parties have ended up going to Slovenia.
Yeah, which if we knew that, we probably could have gone together.
I mean, yeah, that was a bit weird. Like, if we camped like halfway there, then we would have met on the road.
I know, you guys should have camped.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
We probably wouldn't have seen you though, because the dome.
Oh, yeah.
Freaking Osiris probably would have been able to crack that dome. But yeah, what do you think of the whole situation now?
It makes things tougher because, like, you guys are going on a mission. You guys have found out new information. Where if Darrio knew that, he would have gone with you guys. So it's me as a player is conflicted. But for Darrio, well, for me, we have found out that a lot of stuff is connected. Which I think the DM has done a really good job of. Yeah. And it just,
yes.
I feel like we've just cracked the surface, and it's going to get a lot worse from here. Yeah. Ended up, with us going to that town. Pedal. Yeah, the pedal with something creepy going on.
Yeah, and I waved at someone, and Abe's just looked at me in that way he does, like, yeah. You've fallen into my trap, sort of thing. Yeah,
that's the worst thing you could have done.
So I think shit's gonna go down. But yeah, the front line is that's what sort of took me back, because I knew there was the front line. He spoke about it a few times, and I knew it was dire. But when we were in that moment and he explained it, like, that was pretty fucked up. Like, pretty fucked up. Like, with bodies like sinking into the swampiness or whatever it was, like the muck. So Darrio, who's there now, he's seeing that, the condition of the front line. Yes, you've done your funeral and all that sort of stuff, but like, how does that make Darrio feel? Like, these people are on this front line in the worst of situations. They can't light a fire. They can't make any noise. Or barely any noise. They're under constant attack, in constant danger. They're on short supplies, like, it's the worst of everything, right?
Yeah.
And they're doing that all for your city, right?
Yeah.
Like, these are the sons and daughters of Nagaroth, right? How does Darrio feel about that? Like, I feel like I wish we got to explore that more in the game at the time.
Yeah.
Maybe because you guys are still there at the moment. Yeah. So maybe maybe in the next campaign, next episode. But yeah, I was just like, fuck, like how does that affect Darrio?
It's pretty rough, especially because like Dario's been gone for so long. He wasn't aware of so much of this happening.
In Dario's time before he left, I don't know if you'll be able to answer this, but was there any wars or civil wars or border disputes?
I'm not sure. Because Dario's been gone for 8 years. He's
never though like served in the army, right?
He did train, like he went to the military academy kind of thing, because that's how he knows Sergeant Riley. He trained with him. They were best friends. But yeah, Darrio wasn't too much in the court at the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You weren't really doing the political side of things,
No.
and you weren't really serving in the armies or anything. Like you were, you know, the golden child of the city or whatever. Like you were the prince of Nagaroth. You know what I mean?
Because Darrio left when he was about 14, 16.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. So that's how they
left pretty young.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like. Yeah, again, this is a shock on so many levels. Like, yes, obviously, since then, you know, since our campaign, you know, at the very least, Darrio's seen a lot of fucked up shit, right? But I think, you know, like fighting like a massive monster or whatever, or at the Contest of Champions is one thing, but just seeing like a brutal, you know, like war situation where people are just suffering on both ends, or maybe actually it would only be their end because the other side are undead or whatever, right? And it's never ending. So I feel like that just like comes with its own flavor, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And you know, yes, you've seen a lot of shit, but you've never seen war, and you've never seen these conditions, and these are your people. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Osiris might be a different. But what do you think since you're sitting right there? Like Osiris he's always been around. He would have seen this shit, right? Yeah. So to him, it's probably like it's horrible, but you know, his experience, his wizened? Yeah, I don't know what that word is, but you know, like his gritty and understands what war is. I suppose is what I'm saying. But Dario's never been there. Yeah, I think even Bjorn has probably seen more of that side of things than Darrio would have.
I think so.
Yeah.
There's been like probably skirmishes like with the party throughout the campaign.
Yeah.
But yeah, not so much war.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this is tough. He wants to help, especially like the people's reaction to him being there. They were so like, it's good to have like someone so important here, and it's like Dario's like, well, if he knew this was happening and he was around, he would come here more often. He would help out. He would fight on the front lines with them. So it was, it's gonna be tough because Darrio won't want to leave.
Yeah, it also doesn't make sense. Like on the political side of things, I don't know what Abe's is scheming, but like, why the hell would anyone want to try and win some land from Sylvania anyway, right? Or if they're just defending, which I think the way Abe's made it sound was that no, they're trying to push in, I think. And then you got Talabak, right? That's their neighbours, if I got that right.
Yep.
Trying to get in on the other border, which I don't know why they're trying to win land. I don't know if they're disputing over their own border or if they're disputing over Slovenia as well. I can't remember, but like that's...
They're disputing over Slovenian land.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so the front lines where we're at. Thank you, voice from the distance, by the way. The borderline where we're at, that's against Slovenia, right, and undead. But there's another front line, I guess, where they're fighting against Talabak, who are also trying to claim Slovenia. Like, why?
Yeah.
Let me just cancel this appointment. Carry on.
Yes. Darrio doesn't... I don't think he knows a lot about the war, because it's like he's just returned. He hasn't. He's been there for 3 days.
It's literally been 3 days. I
It's
know.
been
It's been like
non-stop.
16 episodes, 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't answer that to me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But it's a mess. He talked to Save a little bit, and basically he was saying that he doesn't understand it and he thinks it's all pointless.
Sorry, was saying that.
I know Darrio said that.
Sorry, was.
But Save was saying that there's no point
Mm.
in trying to take Slovenia because
Yeah.
they're just going to take it back.
Which comes back to, there's something bigger at play here, right? Which I think we're slowly starting to uncover.
Yeah, because there's theories that like Dario's dad's under possession.
Mm-hmm.
Tommen has some links to multiple things. I don't know how much into detail we want to go into.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we're it's our theory, right? We don't know what's actually happening, so we think it's linked with time link.
Yeah.
Slovenia. Sorry, just to give you guys some info. So Slovenia has been axed from the
Say it in the Osiris voice.
Slovenia. It's been axed from the Empire. From when Vlad was the elected count.
Yeah.
So now technically no one owns Slovenia.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to build it into their empire because there is no Slovenia in the empire.
Yeah. Oh, so they're
it's
trying to
just a
reclaim
land
it, but
grab.
as
part of
like Ostermark or whatever.
Ostermark, because
Gotcha.
no one owns Slovenia now. It's not part of the kingdom.
Yeah, but it's not part of the kingdom, but it's still
part
its
of the
own. Like it becomes its own, its own entity, separate from the empire.
Yeah, but who wants that in the whole empire?
Yeah.
Why does Slovenia get its own rights? That's why they're trying to envelop it into the empire. But everyone is putting in their claim to it. Hence why.
There you go. We gotta pay more attention to what's going on.
Osiris knows a lot.
Yeah.
He's onto it.
Yeah, he's a cheat character. Knows everything. Yeah. Well, and then there's speaking of Vlad, Ragnar, who's Bjorn's ancestor, all connected up on that shit as well. So I'm pretty interested where that's going to go because he's been mentioned a few times. We know Vlad's body's in Emily de Winter's estate.
Yep.
Bjorn's blood, or the orphan blood, I should say, can resurrect him, which is pretty fucked up. But also, because that ties into the origins of, in our world, Bjorn's ancestor Ragnar created the blood hunting or the hemocraft tradition. So, and that's all tied into that origin. So we're going back to the start with the orphans, I think, which is really, really cool. I'm really excited to see that. Plus, they've mentioned Fafnir's coil, which is Bjorn's whip, thing. So that's interesting. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to dive into all that shit. And you got freaking Silver as well, with
the super soldier thing.
Super soldier thing. Yeah. There's a lot of shit happening.
Yeah, and then I think there might be something with Drea.
Yeah, Dre's always got something going on.
I feel like the DM has weaved a web, and it's interesting to find out what's going to go down.
But we're all in agreement that we should just murder Osiris, right? Or is that just me?
The law will protect it.
I think it's just
cool.
Yeah.
Is that everything?
I think
How we got on time?
Yeah, pretty good. We have one question from the audience though.
Oh, sweet. Who's the audience? Just you?
Yeah, just me. So, obviously Darrio, compared to our previous season, Dario is in a similar situation to what Harakai was when he returned to his people. So, does Dario ever think about Harakai, or almost relate a bit more to Harakai's situation in the previous season?
Yeah, so Dario did mention Harakai because you had a fight with Harakai in season 2.
Guys, look, Bjorn is just the party bitch, right? He just goes around, fights with everyone, alright? So,
He does.
if he hasn't had a fight with someone yet, it's gonna happen. Just stay tuned, alright? Carry on.
Thank you. So yeah, he has thought about it. Plus, there've been a couple of times where Dario has written letters, and he's written two to Haruka.
Ooh.
So,
but that's just silly because you know. I mean, Dario would know, but Bjorn could just cast sending. And you can have a conversation with him.
Damn, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
For you to play two characters.
I've been kind of like holding that in my back pocket for like when we finally have a fucking long rest to you know, make a few calls and see what's going on.
Wouldn't it be handy if Bjorn was still around?
Yeah, it's hard for someone to be around when they abandon you. Though. So it's tricky.
Yeah, just gotta have a more interesting city, man.
That's right, man.
Oh, sorry.
Haruka City was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Man, you made me think of something that I forgot. Oh, I was gonna say, with the whole thing that happened in Sky City with Haruka, right? Did that inspire Dario to go home?
A little,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because Haruka went home and he's found his home fucked, and then did whatever he could to save it, right? And then we come back down, and you're like, all right, guys, I'm going home. After all this time, after all these years, you're like, was that like an inspiration for Dario?
Yeah, it was because, you know, Dario hadn't been home in so long. Haruka hadn't been home in a little bit.
Couple years.
So, I didn't know this, but yeah, they had very similar. But Haruka not being there and then coming home, it was a mess. Dario saw that, thought, I should go home, make amends with my dad. Because Dario had written letters to his dad throughout season 2, received letters from his brother.
Oh, from Tommen, yeah. I remember you've seen those letters, but never really, now that we know Tommen, never really sort of connected the dots for some reason. But
and he hasn't talked to him about that yet, but he should. And then, like, comes home, it's a mess, and it's like, and in the letter, he does address that. He says, I too, like you, have come home to my city overrun by monsters or something. And that was like episode 10.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because like with Haruka City, like that was a fucked up situation. So there was the people fighting against each other, so it was full on civil war, right?
Yeah.
And then the invaders, I can't remember who they were, the Necrons, invading and like fucking everything up, right? But it was fucked up, but at the same time, there was a code, and I know the whole theme of that campaign or that saga was around the code and the code not being right and everything like that, and the code being like basically what's making them fight each other and be greedy fuckers and all that sort of stuff. But they still had a code. You know what I mean? You could still like speak to that side of every dwarf and you know, like appeal to the side that respected the code, or you know, at least understood the code and whether or not it was right or wrong. You know what I mean? But Magaroth is like fucking Game of Thrones, which I don't know if we say that, but like it's everyone just, you know, doing their own thing, backstabbing, it's corruption, it's everyone out for their own gain. There is no code, there is no, you know, wrong or right even. Well, there is wrong or right, but like there is, you know, like there's different levels of it, you know what I mean? It's a lot more fucked up. You know what I mean? Like you could maybe redeem the dwarves and go like, hey, you know, the code and this is maybe the path that we should walk down and all that sort of stuff, right? But and they would understand that because they were, you know, not really evil. They thought they were, again, you know, following the code. Whereas your people are either evil or corrupt or whatever. Like, so you can't turn to like your auntie and be like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should care about our people. Like, she just don't care. You know what I mean?
I feel like, it's this whole season. It's just pure greed. Like everyone is greedy.
Yeah, especially Dario.
He's greedy for wanting his friends to help him. Nah, yeah. I don't think it's gonna go well.
Yeah. Cool. Audience want to say anything else?
No, we're good.
We're good. I think we're good. So, guys, that is where we're going to wrap it up because we literally just ran out of shit to talk about. So, thank you for tuning in. If you have, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. You know, do all those good stuff because you know we're really trying hard to put out some good shit out there. Like we love what we do, but we want everyone else to be a part of it as well. So please, you know, any support is really appreciated. We are live streaming on Twitch now. Our campaign is on Fridays.
Yep.
7 p.m., 7:30, around that
7:30.
time. 7:30
Yeah.
Australian Central Time. Australian time. And we're doing this. So these episodes, I think, are going live. You know what? I haven't really worked it out yet, but they will be routinely going up every week. And we've got more ideas. We've got more in store. We're going to come up with a lot more exciting content. So please stay tuned. You know, like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Anything you want to add?
Just do what he said.
Yep. Keep spreading the Mythic Wyrd.
Comment whether you're Team Bjorn or Team Darrio.
Hashtag Team Darrio all the way.
Yeah. Keep spreading the Mythic Wyrd. Peace.
See ya.